loss of potential, of life, of happiness. It's really sad.
A memorial at the Valley Transportation Authority one day after an employee opened fire, killing 9 people. Tonight, a sign of solidarity. Caltrain, California's commuter rail line, is giving free rides to and from San Jose City Hall, where a vigil is just getting underway tonight. We'll have a live report from there in just a moment. Good evening from Chicago. I'm Marnie Hughes.
And I'm Rob Nelson. You're watching NewsNation Prime. The 9 victims today remembered as loving, kind-hearted, and heroic, each with a family, friends, and co-workers, all of whom are mourning the loss of a loved one tonight.
NewsNation's Adrian Banker joining us now with more on the victims of this shooting, and also, Adrian, what we're learning about the gunman.
Yes, that's right, Rob and Marnie. This was a mass shooting, but this was also, from what co-workers described, an assassination. They described the gunman choosing who to let live, even yelling at some, "I'm not going to kill you," while with others, he targeted them mercilessly and gunned them down. Sheriff's deputies say that gunfire was still ringing out as they rushed the light rail yard. From chaos to a heartbreaking stillness.
I would like to ask that we all take a moment of silence for our fallen workers.
This morning, police announced the death of a 9th employee of Wednesday's massacre at the Valley Transportation Authority in San Jose, California. Among those killed, Lars Lane, a 20-year employee, his brother Edward in shock.
But to go to work and have people shoot you up, it wasn't the gun that shot him, it was the person that shot him. It's horrific.
Lane just 3 days away from his 64th birthday.
So it's one of those men that like to get into the community and work with the kids. It's like we need more people like Kepi.
The gunman, Samuel James Cassidy, also a VTA employee, arrived at Wednesday's morning shift change armed with 2 semi-automatic weapons. He killed himself as deputies arrived. We're learning tonight there may have been a red flag, that Cassidy was questioned by the Department of Homeland Security back in 2016 following a trip to the Philippines. In his possession, books on terrorism and manifestos expressing a hatred for the workplace. It's in stark contrast to the VTA family, many having grown close after working together for decades.
Here's the superintendent of light rail yard. Yes, I'm that unfortunate leader who lost my VTA family members. Words are not enough to justify the pain we're all going through. I saw my family running towards the car when I parked. When they hugged me, they were happy that I was able to make home. But I was sad inside that some of my family members could not feel the warmth that I was able to feel yesterday. That's going to be missed forever.
So many families holding each other closely tonight. I spoke with San Jose Councilmember Raul Pareles. Tonight he was getting ready for this evening's vigil for the victims at City Hall, and he says that there has been so much love, so much support from the community. And because this just happened as the city is reopening because of the pandemic, for most, it's going to be the first time attending a public gathering in over a year. Marnie.
So difficult, but leaning on one another. Spoke to him last night as well, Adrian, and he said, please pray for our community. Well, after his strong condemnation of the shooting in San Jose, as well as recent spates of mass shootings across the country, California Governor Gavin Newsom today says his focus now is on the victims and their families.
Goes without saying, as we continue the investigation, learn more about the motivations behind the shooting, the tragic loss of 9 human beings, that we are mindful that we have family members and victims that have been devastated, lives torn asunder and destroyed.
Let's go live now to NewsNation's Eric Rucker. He is at San Jose City Hall tonight, where a vigil is beginning to get underway. Eric.
Yeah, good evening. It is about to start any moment now. We have not heard any speakers yet, but what we have seen are a lot of tears and a lot of hugs and a lot of mementos like posters, flowers, candles, and of course, what everybody has their eyes fixed on, the pictures of the victims from this tragic shooting that took place yesterday morning. We have seen many people, not only city leaders, emergency personnel, employees with the Valley Transit Authority themselves, but just many people who either live in this area or decided that they wanted to come down to this area because they said they just absolutely had to pay their support. Obviously, this is national news. Many people have seen and read a lot of stuff about it, and they want to be part of it, not only on a physical basis, but on an emotional basis as well. The actual vigil itself will kick off any moment now. We're going to hear from the mayor of San Jose. His name is Sam Liccardo. He will be kicking off it all, as we mentioned, talking. And there's about 18 different speakers who will be presenting tonight, sharing their thoughts and their well wishes, of course, for the families of the victims. A group of people that have made themselves very known because they have very bright colors are the fellow employees, the Valley Transit Authority employees who, of course, lost too many loved ones, too many fellow employees, people that they care about in yesterday's shooting. They were out here. We talked to some of them a little bit earlier on, essentially saying that they had no choice but to come down. They have received help through guidance counselors that have been given to them by their employer. We've also seen fire unions kind of echo the same sentiment. Everybody, obviously, won tonight, and as soon as this does get underway, we're imagining more people will show up. But in the meantime, San Jose City Plaza is very full, not only with people, but a lot of emotion tonight. We're live in downtown San Jose. Eric Rucker, NewsNation, back to you.
Really heartwarming to see so many people gathering under such difficult circumstances to lean on one another for support. Eric, thank you. We continue to follow the latest developments both online and here on air. Visit newsnationnow.com for the latest.